The facility itself, where these young people, many of them children, 10, 11, 12 years old, are being held, how many windows are there inside?
How many windows are there, Mike? Was that his question?
Yeah.
0.
Do they eat at the same time 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
They eat 3 meals a day, but they eat on rotation.
Is it a menu? Is it a menu or a specific?
No. It's just, I mean, they were given, when I was in there, it was a piece of chicken, some vegetables, a thing of Jell-O, yeah, it wasn't like a school cafeteria. And they have a limited amount of clothes they can wear. Go to the showers on a designated time. They do go to school for 6 hours a day during the week, but everything is very structured. That the calls going in, the calls coming out, is determined not by them. It's incarceration.
Jacob Soboroff speaking with us last week with his reporting on a detention center in Texas. Jacob got one of the first looks inside a facility housing over 1,000 kids who came to the country without documentation. Now Jacob just finished a rare tour of the Border Patrol's processing center, where more child migrant separations happen than anywhere else. And Jacob joins us now from McAllen, Texas, with that story. Jacob, what did you see?
Hey, Mika. So this is actually the first stop, and a DHS official told me it is the epicenter of family separations along the southern border. It's the McAllen Border Patrol Processing Center, and inside there, more people are actually separated, children from their parents, than anywhere else along the entire southern border. Nobody had been able to get inside until yesterday, and we did. Take a look. When in their stay in this facility are they separated from their children?
Yes, when they go to court, yes.
Facing the cameras and opening his doors for the first time, Rio Grande Valley Sector Border Patrol Chief Manuel Padilla doubled down on the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy of prosecuting anyone who enters the U.S. illegally. But he didn't say it was designed to separate parents from children.
Can you describe the separation process, Chief? How does it happen?
There is no separation process. As they go through the judicial process, they are temporarily separated.
He told us here alone 1,174 kids were taken from their parents since the policy was enacted. That's more than anywhere else on the border. And it happens inside this building. The facility serves as an intake for the busiest sector of the southern border, the biggest of its kind in the country. We were invited to see it with our own eyes, but not with our own cameras. All we can show you is photos provided to us by the Border Patrol. Migrants were kept behind chain-link fences, wrapped in Mylar blankets, the same kind used by marathon runners, and huddled on mattresses on the floor. When we walked in the door to the 77,000-square-foot processing center, 1,129 migrants were detained inside. 525 family members, 197 unaccompanied minors, and the rest adults on their own. Inside, migrants are sorted based on age, gender, and family status into 4 pods. That's what the Border Patrol calls them. One for girls 17 and under, another for boys 17 and under. And then there are the families, moms with kids and dads with kids. Another one of those mothers with her child, captured in these heartbreaking photos going viral over the weekend. They show a 2-year-old girl crying as a U.S. Border Patrol officer detains her mother. The Border Patrol pushing back this morning, insisting no family separations are taking place in the field, but images like these are only adding to the contentious debate about U.S. immigration policy.
So let's just be really clear. There's been some talk, some conversation that there are no cages. People aren't kept in cages. People are kept in cages inside this facility. And I saw it with my own eyes. You guys saw it in those handout photos from CBP and the Department of Homeland Security. And increasingly, the children that are kept in those cages are being separated from their parents under this policy that is a manufactured crisis by the Trump administration. Not only is it affecting the children, the agents inside this facility, the deputy agent in charge told me it's creating a stress on the system. The agents are stressed, and there are only 4 licensed social care workers in this entire facility, at least there were yesterday, to deal with all of the children who might need it. So if a parent is taken away and you have a 2-year-old child that's there by themselves, which is an example I actually pointed out to a Border Patrol agent and asked them what happens to that kid if that kid's parent is taken away, you only got 4 social workers that could come in and do simple things like change diapers. Border Patrol agents don't change diapers. And with the separations increasing, this is only going to get more tenuous, guys.
Incredibly tenuous. Barnacle?
Jacob, I was going to ask you about that because the changing of diapers, 2, 3-year-old children. What is the policy in terms of touching, handling these young children, these really young children? Sometimes for comfort, sometimes for changing a diaper. What's the policy?
What I was told, Mike, by the Department of Health and Human Services at the facility I joined you guys from last week, which is the second step, right? So the kids would leave here if they're separated from their parents and go to one of those facilities. The interaction is limited because of laws designed to protect children from sexual assault. They're actually prison rape laws, which, you know, when they say these aren't prisons, I mean, if you're operating under the same laws that are intended to protect children from sexual assault in prisons, then what do you call these places? So I don't know if that same law is put into place or those same policies are put into place here, but you would have to assume so if the Border Patrol agents told me they can't do simple things like change a diaper.
Rick.
Jacob, I wonder about the people working these facilities. You know, I mean, they're human beings. I'm sure many of them are trying to do the best they can. Were you able to talk to any of them and about what they think is actually going on in these facilities and how it's unsustainable?
Yeah, I mean, the chief of the Border Patrol sector, Manuel Padilla, told me that they're not at 100% yet because it's too chaotic. They can't actually manage the volume of people that are coming in. So that obviously directly affects the Border Patrol agents. One of the things that they told me yesterday was that there are literally not enough agents to process people that are going off to be separated from their children. So there are these virtual stations, which is really strange, that you see migrants sit down in front of computers and talk to agents in the El Centro sector or in Corpus Christi or in other locations that are remote from here. And that's how they're finding out their processing orders, whether or not they're going to get separated from their children. So it's almost like you're an agent sitting in a remote location away from here and you're separating people from their kids. I can't imagine what it does to the agents, much less the people who are separated.
Elise, I'm going to let you jump in and go to Jacob, but this is just a little bit of a glimpse into what Jacob is talking about. Texas Monthly has this description from the executive director of a nonprofit which focuses on helping immigrant women and children. I was talking to one mother and she said, "Don't take my child away." The child started screaming and vomiting and crying hysterically, and she asked the officers, "Can I at least have 5 minutes to console her?" And they said no.
Jacob, you are doing such incredible reporting on the ground, telling the truth about this human tragedy. I just want to go back to what you said about the young children, about the touching and the holding of these scared young children and babies who need their diapers changed. It sounds like there's simply not enough workers to humanely take care of the needs of little ones who we are essentially putting in prison. I mean, this is tantamount to child abuse.
Elise, it makes you sick, honestly. I have a 2.5-year-old son myself, and you see children that are sitting there, and you cannot fathom what these little kids are going through and what's going through their little brains and what it means for them for the rest of their lives. And you know, again, what these facilities are not new. They were here during previous administrations. There were controversies inside them during previous administrations. But the act of separating children from their parents as a systematic policy is a direct result of something that Donald Trump wants to have happen in this country right now. And it's just not true when anybody from this administration says otherwise.
Yep. Jacob Soboroff, it's worth repeating. Thank you. It's worth repeating many times that there is a campaign to twist the truth. This was a policy, of course, that The Attorney General announced himself in April, and we've been rolling that soundbite. The president is behind this policy. It is his policy.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.